All right, there we go. I am sewed on one side. And now I flip it over and I start sewing back through the holes. Hard to do with one hand. And then I won't be able to pull this out with one hand. And what you want to do is you want your needle to come out. Let me get something to point with. It just makes your stitches look better when you get your needle to come out on the outside of each stitch. So if you come out on the outside of each stitch that's already there, and then the next one you come out on the inside of the stitch, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look neat. And that's what I'm trying to go for, neat and uniform, and each stitch looking the same. And the way you do that is you kind of wiggle it around and you put pressure on the needle where it wants to go in the hole up that side of the thread. Oh, and I mentioned, the last clip, I mentioned that they gave me a test to see if I was retarded, because I did have difficulty learning in the standard ways that most kids learn. But later on in life, I was at the age of 15 years old. I was taking college courses, still going to high school, but I was taking college courses at night in photography. I had my own darkroom. I was big into photography, black and white. I didn't, there was color when I was doing into photography, but color was beyond my ability to develop it myself, and in my darkroom. Yeah, I had a Bogan enlarger. I had I had my own darkroom downstairs. I actually built it myself in the basement. And I used to develop my own film. I used to buy film in bulk and roll it into 35 millimeter containers. And I don't know if I have any pictures that I took when I was a kid. But I was taking college courses in photography. My ability, my skill, my knowledge of photography was way beyond anything they could teach me in high school. And my claim to fame was at the mall. They had shows. They would show artwork sometimes in the middle of the mall. And I had about a dozen pictures in the mall, and people were amazed that it was a 15-year-old kid that was taking these pictures. So I may have a learning disability, who knows? But I figured out ways to get around it. And to this day, like multiplying, I won't go into it. I don't know my multiplication tables. I can't commit them to memory. But I do know some of the multiplication tables, and I can multiply in my head as quick as most people by using a method that I devised in my own head. It's just ways around things that I have figured out. And, when I finally realized that I do not learn like other people learn, life got much easier, because I have to put my hands on something to learn it. That's all there is to it. And some things I just can't commit to memory. I took that ham radio test 3 times and failed it 3 times. That's embarrassing. But could I pick up a hand radio and transmit on it, or even work on it? Yeah, I know I could. Just some things my brain won't do, and I accept that, and I find ways to get around stuff. I couldn't find a way to get around the test, though. All right, I'll show you the last few stitches here. So I probably told you more than you really wanted to know about me. Now I'm not sure I want to share that little information, but it's out there. My life is an open book. Okay. Now the tail, I usually tuck the tail in there just to keep it out of the way after I'm done holding onto it. Once you get up a couple inches, you're not running the risk of this coming out. So now what I do is I tie this up really tight. Trim the ends off. Then take my little butane lighter and I heat that knot up really good. And then I mash it down hard until the wax in this cools back down. I'll show you the knot. So, Jesse sent me his address so I can go and mail. Oh yeah, I usually just tap on this a little bit. It kind of evens out the stitches. Not hard enough to damage the leather, but okay. That's ready for its two-tone finish. Okay, let me get the other. Actually, I'm going to stop and go mail those 3 knives. I'll be right back. All right, I got all 3 sewed up. Now I am one of these I got to put initials in. I think that's reds. Yeah, reds I got to put initials in. And then I got to do my fade on all these. I'm going to use black on all of them. I think it'll look nice. So let me get the initials put in, and you're probably wondering how I do that after the sheath is made. I slide this bar in where I'm going to put the initials, and that's how I do that. Wet the leather, slide that bar in, and put my initials there, and then what I do is I put them in my arbor press, and I press the letters in and hold them there. And I have to remind myself not to press too hard so the outline of the stamp doesn't show. So let me get the initials put on this, and then I'm going to airbrush my fade on these. It's going pretty good. I'm real happy with my stitching is really improving too. Okay. Oh, let me tell you this. I was trying to get a hold of this fellow that ordered a knife, and man, I sent him text after text. I was sending the text to the wrong number, so who knows where that text went. I finally went in and I found his business card he gave me the last time I met him. We met for coffee one time, and I found his business card, and it was one number off from the number I had been sending texts to. Anyway, yeah, the second I actually called him, and we talked on the phone, and that's when I found out I had actually texted the wrong number. So he sent me his address, and I mailed it, and this is Friday. You will probably see this video Saturday morning. So when I go back home tonight, I'll text everybody whose knife that I shipped. That would be Eric, Jesse, and Teresa. I will send you your tracking numbers. They'll be in the system by then, you know. Okay, let me get a little further on these. Actually, I'm gonna do my initials, I'm gonna do my fade, and these are done and ready for knives. Tomorrow, Saturday, I'll be sharpening these. And Sunday, I'll be making a sheath for Fred Ward up in Alaska to replace the crappy sheath that I sent with that knife. That was before I had finally found a sheath design that I was happy with. What it is I made this too low. There's too much of the knife that sticks out of that sheath. So I threw that pattern away. Actually, I used that pattern, and I made another one with the shoulders up higher. So anyway, a little more work. I'll show you the final product. All right, I'm done with the sheaths. I gotta go get some alcohol and clean my brush up, and then I can start putting an edge on these knives. I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, that's it. I got the clear coat finish on it. Clear coat, I don't know what you call it. It's just a satin finish that gives it just a tiny bit of sheen but not shine. There we go. This is Doug's Errol's Reds. Now, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and start the sharpening, but I'm not going to do it in here. I got to go to my other shop to do it because I don't want the grit that comes from knife sharpening in here, or the oil or anything like that, because you know I mess with these sheaths with my hands, and then I pick up oil, and then I touch the sheath, and then the sheath won't take stain. You can see a big old fingerprint, so I got to be careful not to contaminate this leather shop with knife shop schmutz. All right, so have a good weekend, y'all. You're looking at this, it'll be Saturday morning, and I will be out here sharpening knives, putting the final finish on knives by the time you see this. So have a good weekend. All right, I just turned my AC on in here. I'm going to go sit with my wife a minute, let this shop cool down. Then I'm going to get the edges on these 3 knives. And I do not have any orders. If anybody wants a knife, let me know what you want. You'll be first in line. Oh God, it is hot out. Okay, I think this will be the last clip. I probably said that already, so have a good weekend, y'all.